So the iPhone XR and the iPhone 12 mini came out many, many years ago. Well, the iPhone 12 mini is much newer. So let's go and see how both these phones hold up in 2023. Now, if you want to pick up some phones I would recommend this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell the 12 mini is a much smaller phone than the iPhone XR. The XR came out back in 2018. So this was, I guess, like a budget phone of that year. I think Apple did a pretty decent job with it. It definitely wasn't perfect, but I think for the most part, it couldn't have been that much worse, in my opinion. So you had a 6.1-inch display. It was a Retina IPS panel. So not an OLED, just an IPS, but still looked pretty good for the most part. There wasn't too much to complain about here. You have the notch, you have, curved side, so it definitely feels pretty good. And I think overall it's a pretty good looking display. Again, there's not really that much to complain about here. With the 12 mini, I think, again, Apple did a really, really good job with this one. It was a smaller phone, which was really nice. So you were getting a 5.4-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And I think this was a pretty good thing that Apple did here. So you have the notch up top, which spread across the board. You have the flat sides. So you basically didn't have a curved side anymore, it was a flat. And it was a smaller phone for sure. Now, some people might like it, some people might not like it. But I think the mini lineup was a smart thing Apple did. But again, they since abandoned this whole entire lineup, and I think the 12 mini, wasn't a good spot for the app for Apple to kind of showcase the mini lineup, but it could have been way worse. And the sides, though, you can see again, like I mentioned, basically the same button placement. So the buttons are basically placed at the same spot. You can see again the flat side on the 12 mini is pretty good, and I mean the 12 mini is so much smaller than the iPhone 10, or like it's pretty crazy. If I kind of place them like this, you can see it's like not even close. On the bottom, you do have the lightning port. I kind of messed up there. You have lightning ports, no headphone jack or anything like that. And on the back, we have our backs. Now, you can see my 12 mini has a completely cracked back. It is crazy. The 12 mini did also have a dual camera setup, though, which was really nice. The iPhone XR has a single camera setup. You have glass backs on both, pretty much the same type of glass back. You have wireless charging on both. You have IP certification on both as well, which is pretty nice. So lots of overlap. You also have that MagSafe charging on the iPhone 12 mini, which was pretty cool. So there's definitely lots of overlap. There's not anything that's, pertinent or like crazy, outstanding on either one. There is lots of overlap between both on the bodies. It just so happens that the 12 mini is a much smaller phone than the iPhone XR. So from that perspective, that kind of covers it up from there. Now another thing, the iPhone XR, it's been out for a bit of time now. So since 2018, it's been supported. So about 5 years almost as of this point. The thing with the iPhone XR, we don't know how much longer it's going to last in software. Now I'm 99.99% confident it's going to be getting iOS 17. I don't really see how Apple wouldn't give this iPhone. The iPhone 10 may be like 50-50, but this phone is definitely probably going to be getting it. So I say that to say I wouldn't really worry too much about this phone not getting the next version of software. But with iOS 18, it's probably going to be likely this phone may not be getting that version of software, if I'm being real. But the iPhone 12 mini is a phone that came out in 2020. So it's newer, it's 2 years newer than the iPhone XR. And I will say this is probably going to be the better phone to pick up from that perspective if you're wanting a phone that's going to last a longer amount of time. So that's always something I always think about as well. And this is pretty much going to be no exception. So that kind of covers it up there too. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 12 mini has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone XR has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go see which one's the fastest phone between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background except for the 12 mini. So let me go and clear out all of these. Should only take like 2 seconds. There we go. So let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Music 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think the 12 mini was faster there. Hopping out of these two. Let's do the App Store 3, 2, 1. And I think the 12 mini was the faster one there. Scrolling through, let's see if there's any big differences, which I don't really think there's going to be. But you can kind of see both are doing pretty decent. So that's pretty good there. Hopping out of this one. Let's go and do camera 3, 2, 1. Let's go and take a photo. This one does have that night mode option, not a big deal or anything. Okay, perfect. Let's go and open up the photos. 3, 2, 1. I think the 12 mini may have been faster. Zoom mail 3, 2, 1. 12 mini faster. Let's go and try photos 3, 2, 1. Did I already do this one? Okay, I guess not. Let's go and hop out of here. I think that covers up all these ones. Now we can try some other applications. I guess we don't have a lot of overlap. Files 321. Okay. Let's go into contacts 321. Covers up that one. Let's try Subway servers 321. And the 12 mini seems to be faster there by a bit. You can see that we finally got into the panel on the 10R. Not a big deal, just one of those small things. Let's go and kind of get into this specific game and see how it goes. And I think both of them are doing a pretty good job. It's not really that big of a difference. Hopping out of this one, let's try stack 3, which I don't even have here, which is very, very weird. And we can try Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, of course we get into these panels. So we can give this one a leeway, but I don't even think that affected the gameplay in the background. So you can see again here, the 12 mini did a pretty good job overall. The iPhone 10R a little bit slower, but we did get into that pop-up, so we have to kind of keep that in mind as well. And it did crash here on the 12 mini. Very, very weird. Was not expecting that. That typically doesn't happen, but again, who knows? Stocks 3, 2, 1. And even an application like that is significantly faster on the iPhone 12 mini, and it should be. It's 2 years newer. And even in terms of the whole animations, I'm seeing is a little bit smoother of an experience, or was a smoother experience on the iPhone 12 mini than on the iPhone 10R. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that the iPhone 12 mini is the faster one, which is totally expected. But I think the iPhone 10R is still pretty decent. It's not like a crazy big difference here if you ask me. So that kind of covers it up there. Now in the camera department, like I mentioned earlier, you're getting that dual camera setup on the iPhone 12 mini. You're getting that single camera on the iPhone 10R. I think both are pretty good. There's definitely ways to kind of state that one is better than the other one, but it's quite clear the iPhone 10R isn't as good overall in my opinion as the iPhone 12 mini. So 4K at 60 on the back of both these, which is great. 1080p at 60 on the front of the 10R, but 4K at 60 on the front of the iPhone 12 mini. That is a really cool feature you have on something like this phone. Now with the iPhone 10R, with this type of device, it is a fairly solid phone. I like this phone a lot. I've talked about this phone a lot in my life, and with a phone like this, it's good camera. The thing is that there's no like ultra wide or telephoto lens, and that is the thing you're missing here. So you only get the standard zooming in, that's it, which is still good enough for a lot of people. You're still getting things like video mode, slow mode, portrait mode, but definitely compared to something like the 12 mini, you were definitely getting the better camera here. But I think the iPhone 10R for the most part is still good enough. Like it could be way worse than the 10R. 12 mini though, definitely a better camera in my opinion. So with a phone like this, you're getting that ultra wide camera, which is that 0.5x zoom. And this is an amazing thing. Having this type of camera lens is awesome. You're also getting 5x zoom, which is still good enough, but you're still getting video mode, slow mode, time lapse, portrait mode all the way here too. So the modes are almost identically the same on both, which is interesting. Some people may just assume that the 10R is, has way less features, and it does have less features overall, but in the camera side, at least in the camera app, there's some other things in the settings camera application that's a little different, but in this one are almost identical. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there too. And to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I'll tell you is I definitely do think like a phone like the iPhone 12 mini sits in a very interesting spot because I don't really, this may not be the first phone I'd recommend buying, but between these two, this is, I think, the better phone. It's going to be faster, better cameras, maybe better battery life, probably around the same thing, and longer lasting phone on the iPhone 12 mini. The 10R I think is still fairly relevant. Like this is still a very, very capable phone. It just so happens that it's pretty much kind of on its last leg. It's kind of, going to be unsupported probably within the next year or so. So keep it as you will, but that's kind of where we are with the iPhone 10R and the 12 mini. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.